The narcissist in your life is underestimating you, and you say, "How do you know that? I don't even know you personally. I don't know your narcissist personally." But the reason I know that is because it's just the nature of a narcissist to overestimate themselves. They think they're just all that. And you understand this principle because you have lived through this. And speaking of living through things, I'm almost 70 years old. So I've been around a while, learned a thing or two. One of the reasons I do these videos is to share with other people some of the things that I have learned, and then maybe they can pick up on some of the mistakes that I've made and some of the things that I've done right and apply those things to their lives. But that's your call. Now, when we speak of narcissists, I recently saw a statistic that said clinical narcissists comprise about 1/2 of 1% of the population. I thought it was higher than that. I thought it was like 1%. Still, that's not very many. So just keep in mind when we speak of narcissists, we're not necessarily talking about somebody who has been to a counselor or a psychologist and they have been certified a narcissist. We're talking about people who have narcissistic traits or tendencies, or these are people we would say are kind of controllers, right? All right, so you got this person in your life, and that is who that person is. It's a controller. It's somebody who has these narcissistic traits, and there's a very good possibility they could be that among the 1/2 of 1% of people who would be clinical narcissist if you could get them in to be interviewed. Or what's a better term than interviewed? Somebody who is evaluated by a psychologist. All right, they overestimate themselves. So because they overestimate themselves, they underestimate everybody else. They think they are superior to everyone else. And the two just fit together. If I'm better than you, the narcissist thinking, then you must be less than me. You know, it's two sides of the same coin. So number one is they overestimate themselves. And number two is they underestimate you. And number three is what I call the hello principle. You've never heard of this before because it just occurred to me last night when I was putting together my notes. So this is something new. And again, this is not a clinical term. It's something, well, it's a neologism. It's something that I just came up with that describes how narcissists think, how these people work. Okay, and the principle works like this. You walk up to a perfect stranger, or a stranger that's imperfect, whatever, and you say hello. And what does the narcissist do? Or not the narcissist, but the stranger rather. What does the stranger do? Typically what will happen is the stranger will reply hello. It's just automatic. People are courteous, they're nice, they're social by and large, and they say hello back, and you don't think anything of it, and you do this all the time. But if a narcissist does that, if a narcissist walks up to somebody, now pay attention because this is vitally important. If a narcissist walks up to somebody and says hello, and the person responds hello back, you know what the narcissist will think? The narcissist will think, I'm controlling that person. I said hello, and in so doing, I triggered that person to respond, and they said hello back. So the narcissist gets a little bit of an ego boost out of that. And so they may try it again. Say hello to somebody, and man, that other person said hello too. So the narcissist is really getting the big head here, so to speak. That he or she sees themselves as controllers. And so now they're going to expand the principle. They're going to try to control other people different ways. And so they get friendly with somebody, and the other person gets friendly back. And they say, man, I'm really good at this. Then they start to sometimes scam these people. Okay, first of all, that friendly thing, that's what we call the, sometimes I call it grooming, but most people call it love bombing. So, okay, they figured that out. Some people are easier targets than others. And then they find out they can abuse these people, and they think of themselves as extremely, extraordinarily gifted at manipulating other people. Now, what they don't realize is, because narcissists tend to have, and again, this is my opinion, This is what I have experienced, and you tell me in the comment section if you want, if you have experienced the same thing. But narcissists, it seems, tend to have an emotional maturity level of about an 11-year-old. And I've seen this. I've seen this in a lot of people. I'm not just making this up. So, about 11-year-old. And they have this misconception that because they are able to trick people, maneuver them, lie to them, cheat them, they have a special talent. What they don't realize, everybody can say hello. Everybody can say hello and get a response back. Sometimes, and you might want to try this just for the fun of it, middle of the day, afternoon, even late at night, I may be out and about shopping. Sometimes I go to Menards, and buy stuff for the house or for the lawn, and I'll say good morning, and people say good morning even though it's the afternoon or it's at night. Sometimes they'll catch you, they'll, hey, it's not afternoon. That's a good way to kind of, okay, it's not a good way, but it's a way to break the ice and have a little bit of a conversation. But the narcissist is doing this thing where he is doing stuff that everybody could do, but they don't do because they have a sense of, they got an ethos. They got a sense of right and wrong. They are ethical. And it's not that the narcissist has this special talent. It's that he or she is so arrogant, so narcissistic, that they think they do. They don't realize everybody could be grifters. Most everybody could scam other people. It's just that most other people are more centered. They're more emotionally mature. They're not scam. Well, narcissists aren't necessarily an artist. Well, Bernie Madoff, okay, that was an artist. But, they're like little kids who scribble on a piece of paper and they take it home to mom, and mom says, oh man, you're an artist. Or a little kid who goes out and picks dandelions and brings them into mom, and mom says, wow, that's a beautiful bouquet. And the narcissists, the immature people that they are, actually believe they have this amazing talent to manipulate other people. And so they go about manipulating other people, and other people don't see it because they don't expect it. And once they catch on to what the narcissist is doing, and they see, I'm dealing with an 11-year-old here. It's a person in a full-grown adult body, but they're acting like an 11-year-old. And so the whole life of a narcissist, and I've never known a narcissist to change, but their whole life is an expanded version of the hello principle. They act, people react accordingly, and they see it as they're controlling these people. That is their supply. That boosts their ego. All right, now you can take that a step further. And number 4, we can say, and we've kind of touched on this, is what I call the exaggerated hello principle. And the exaggerated hello principle is, instead of saying hello, they may say, you know what, do you mind if I borrow $100? Because I have this, if I had it, I wouldn't ask, and, I'll pay you back next week, whatever. But I have this emergency, and don't worry about it, I'll take it. And you go through with it, and the narcissist has no intention of paying you back. Now, this is one example of many, but I've actually had narcissists do this to me. I had a guy one time and says, my son is stranded in another state, and I don't happen to have the money, but if you would wire him $100 through Western Union, we'll make sure you get paid back. So I did it, and I didn't get paid back. There was a fake socialite in New York City. I'm not going to mention this woman's name because it's not relative, but she had this thing where she convinced people that she was going to come into and inherit tens of millions of dollars in the very near future. And people believed her, and she thought she was real savvy. I'm not a mind reader. I'm just guessing what I think she's probably reading, what she's probably thinking. And she thought she was very savvy, I'm guessing. Again, I'm careful not to say that I know what people are thinking. But what she doesn't realize is that other people could do the same thing. She doesn't have this special gift. She's just crooked. She's just dishonest. And one example was she befriended a socialite, New York City, they have this social climbing tier. People tend to do that. And she was making her way, this narcissist person, I think was narcissist, was making her way climbing up the social ladder. And she convinced one of her dear friends to allow her, the narcissist, to take her on a very expensive vacation. And this vacation wound up costing like $60,000. Went overseas. I think they went to Switzerland or somewhere. I don't recall. And once they got there, the narcissist, who was pretending to be an heiress, I forgot my credit cards. Would you cover the $60,000 that we bills that we have accumulated here, and I'll pay you back as soon as I get my inheritance, which she's not going to get an inheritance. So basically, what happened is this narcissist scammed her friend. Wasn't truly her friend. She was just pretending. The narcissist was pretending to be friendly. Scammed her out of a $60,000 vacation. Never paid her back. Now, the good ending of the story is she did this so often. And just to show you how arrogant these people are, she actually got caught. And my understanding is she spent jail time because she did this so often. So it's not always a happy ending. But what we're saying is that's just the hello principle. Exaggerated, expanded, very large. Number 5 is this. Remember I said that this particular woman went to prison, went to jail? Well, eventually, number 5, eventually you're going to figure these people out. You got to be really naive not to figure them out. And I understand there's this thing online. What is it called? Something phishing. The term doesn't come to mind. And there are some people who never figure that out. They've got this total, complete stranger, this narcissist type, on the internet who has connected them by Facebook or some other social media venue, and they have convinced them that they have a future together, and they need some money to tide them over for the moment. Then later they need a little bit more money, and they have this emergency. Could you help them out? They just string them on and on and on. What is it? It's called catfishing, right? Okay, the thought came to me. But eventually people figure it out, but sometimes, well, that's one case where sometimes, sad to say, some people don't. And then number 6 is this. What narcissists do is they flip the story. You know that because we've talked about it in a number of other videos. So the narcissist will flip the story and make you sound like the bad guy, and they are the good guy. They're the ones who is being taken advantage of, and the person they scammed, they screwed over, is the one screwing them over. They just flip the story. But what I've seen happen time and time and time again, the narcissists don't seem to ever be ready for this. But what happens is often the story is flipped back. Talk about fish. All right, so you got a fish, and it flips. And then it flips back, and it flips back. But this time, it just flips twice. So the narcissist, through his or her smear campaign, has convinced everybody that you have really screwed them over when the exact opposite is true. But now you've come up with documentation, and you've come up with evidence. And I hope you know better than to fight with these people. If you've been watching my videos, you know better than to fight with these people. But still, you've done your due diligence. Maybe you've done some doxing, you've looked into their background, and now you have documentation. This person has been scamming people for a very long time. Now, if it's a young person, you may not have the advantage of finding that documentation. But if it's a middle-aged person or somebody older, my age, chances are they've been doing this for so long that they've been sued multiple times. So the story has been flipped by the narcissist to make you look like the bad guy. And then you flip it back. And the narcissist, with the mindset of an 11-year-old, And the inability to think into the future. I mean, these people literally that I've encountered, they can think maybe a week or two into the future at the most. It doesn't even occur to them that at some point in time, you're going to be onto them. It never occurs to them that they have this criminal history. I was going to say track record, but they have this criminal history. And it's conceivably possible that you, the victim, may happen to find it. Because after all, it's public record. Okay, I'm pausing for a moment and thinking, if you have an extreme narcissist in your life, you might want to look into that. Look into public records. You see those two rectangles on the screen? If you want our conversation to keep going, all you got to do is click on one of those two rectangles and we just keep on talking. If not, thanks for stopping by and we'll see you all next time.